24/7 Sports has the best rankings in high school and college sports, and they've got your latest 2021 college football rankings, your transfer rankings. Transfer's been such a huge part of the college game of late. The top prize was a top 10 recruit in last year's class, ARIK Gilbert, the tight end who opted out after 8 games at LSU. He's headed to the swamp, and he is the #1 ranked transfer, and he's bringing another top recruit or a top transfer with him in Demarcus Bowman, who played behind Travis Etienne at Clemson last season. The running back also going to Florida. And there are a bunch of Tennessee transfers. I believe 4 former Tennessee players in the top 10 in these rankings, 3 of them going to Oklahoma. So we're going to talk about this with 24/7 Sports national recruiting analyst Bud Elliott, who joins us here on HQ. Bud, let's start with Gilbert. I mean, this guy was the highest rated tight end recruit in history at 24/7 Sports. #1 as far as transfers go. Was it even close when you were ranking these guys?
Chris, it really wasn't, because of, like you said, he was the highest rated tight end recruit ever. He was also a proven producer for the LSU Tigers in year 1. So we're not rating him in the transfer portal based solely on potential. He's already a proven commodity as one of the better tight ends in the SEC. With him going to the Gators, they lose Kyle Pitts to the NFL, likely to be a first-round pick. He should be able to step in there just immediately and continue to be an impact player in the SEC. So for us, no, that was an easy #1.
And you lose a guy that is going to be drafted really high in the draft. I mean, we've had some mock drafts where Pitts goes top 5, and now you're getting a guy who was the highest rated high school tight end recruit in 24/7 Sports history. You're also, by the way, getting the #2 ranked recruit in your transfer rankings. Demarcus Bowman only carried the ball 9 times behind Travis Etienne at Clemson. What do we know about Bowman?
So Bowman was a 5-star recruit out of Lakeland, Florida in our class of 2020. He signed with Clemson. Then Travis Etienne decides to come back to the Tigers, and playing time for him really wasn't there at Clemson. He decided he wanted to go back closer to home. Like I said, Lakeland, Florida. Gainesville's just up the road. Florida needs a top-end running back. They've had a solid run game in recent years, but they've not necessarily had that breakaway back. Bowman gives them the ability to do that. Still has plenty of eligibility left, and there's no reason to think that his talent is really diminished from that rating that we put on him just a year ago.
So when you look at the Gators as a whole, getting the top 2 transfers, and you know all about the recruits that they're bringing in as well under Dan Mullen, what is the outlook for this team?
I think the outlook is pretty good. Now, the one thing about last year's team is that they were a very old team. This year, they're going to be a little bit younger team. They're going to need some of those guys in the recruiting classes of 2019 and 2020 to step up. But in addition to getting Gilbert, in addition to getting Bowman, they also signed Antonio Shelton from Penn State and Daquan Newkirk out of Auburn, 2 guys who we expect to contribute for them early on the inside on the defensive line.
Okay, Gators, they started great last season. They were 8-1. They were in the hunt for a playoff. Then they lost their last 3 games, LSU, Alabama, and then Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl Classic. So they get the top 2 guys, right? But there's another team that got 3 in your top 10. That would be Oklahoma, a trio of top 10 transfers, and it's just crazy because they're all coming from Tennessee, so they all know each other.
It's not a great idea to fire your coach like a week before National Signing Day, as Tennessee did, and Oklahoma is the beneficiary here via the transfer portal. They're getting 4-star running back Eric Gray, who was very productive for Tennessee, despite the fact that the rest of the league basically knew Tennessee was going to run the ball all the time and almost refused to throw the ball on early down. So he was one of our top-rated running backs in the class. Offensive tackle Wanye Morris, freshman All-American in 2019, a bit of a step back last year, but we still think he has a lot of potential. And then safety Key Lawrence, who was a freshman in the 2020 class. He also joins his former Tennessee Vols teammates going to Oklahoma. So OU has had a nice history with successive transfers. They get 3 more big ones here.
Okay, so we've already hit on, 5 of your top 10, but your #3 ranked transfer is still available. Linebacker Henry To'o led the Vols in tackles for loss in both of his seasons in Knoxville. Where are you projecting him to land?
So this team really needs a break, and I think they're finally going to get one here in Alabama, right? So Henry To'o's father told our website, BamaOnline.com, that he would listen to what Nick Saban told him to do. And I think that means, like, will Alabama have room? When should he enroll, et cetera? But the #1 rated linebacker for us, I think if you have to put the money down right now, the smart money says Alabama.
Well, you can't blame the kid. Wants a championship, and going to a rival of Tennessee as well. Might be able to light up a stogie on that side of things against Tennessee. Now, McKenzie Milton, that's a name that college football fans, they loved a few years ago. He was the quarterback for the unbeaten UCF Knights. He didn't make your top 10. But he's staying in the state of Florida. He's going to Florida State. What are the Noles getting in this former great quarterback who's coming off a devastating injury?
Sure. So one of the best quarterbacks in college football from 2016 to 2018. And it's kind of crazy. We're talking about a guy who actually played in 2016, but he almost lost his leg in that tragic hit against USF. So I think what Florida State is getting is a guy who knows how to play college football, is an accurate thrower, is a playmaker. We'll see how well his leg has healed. Like, we don't know if he could run quite like he used to run. But if you recall, this Florida State staff was the head coaching staff at Memphis when McKenzie Milton was tearing them up. So they've certainly seen what he can do at his best. They have a lot of respect for him as a competitor and as a leader. And so far, it seems like he is becoming a leader on that team.
You know, since Jameis Winston led them to a national championship, I mean, they've gone through, seems like, a quarterback a season, and in some seasons, a couple of different quarterbacks. Does he give them, he being McKenzie Milton, the best chance of all these guys since that 2014 season?
I would think so. I mean, DeAndre Francois certainly had a lot of ability as well, but he was never really able to put it together on or off the field. But I think Milton is probably the highest upside guy they've had in there.
Okay, quarterback transfer market, nothing like it has been. I mean, in years past, we're talking the top transfer is a quarterback, maybe even the top 2 or 3 transfers are quarterbacks. What do you make of this season in the lack of quarterbacks? You can argue that's a good thing for college football.
Certainly, I think it is probably a good thing for college football overall, because you're seeing guys maybe they follow the Mac Jones model, right? Where you stay at Alabama for 4 years and then you get a shot to start and you get to throw to some really talented guys. I think, Chris, it just goes in cycles. We saw Joe Burrow, we saw Justin Fields, we saw JT Daniels, we saw all these former transfers, work out in a big time way. Jack Cohn, Grant Gunnell, Walensky, Garbers this year, as well as Tanner Mordecai going to Oklahoma. I don't know that this group really measures up to that last group. Although I will note, SMU has had a ton of success taking transfer quarterbacks who want to come back home to the Dallas area. De'Aaron King at Miami is another one that's worked out very well. Obviously, Oklahoma has had a ton in Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. But we do see that quarterbacks get drafted higher relative to other positions as transfers. And I don't really know exactly why that is. It might be because it's just very hard to beat out an incumbent at the QB position, because it's ID'd as a leadership position as opposed to, other positions which are not so much, and they just generally tend to play the best player there at those spots. But for QBs, we do see them transfer and have success. So it is notable this year's transfers at the quarterback position maybe don't have quite that upside that previous years have.
All right, how about some other notable transfers that we should be keeping an eye on? Maybe one in particular.
Sure. So what I really want to look at is a player named Lance Dixon. He's a linebacker from Penn State. He jumped in the portal January 28th. So, after a lot of schools have already started, so he'll probably be a spring decision. He was just one of the freakiest athletes in the class of 2018. Hasn't totally developed like you'd want him to at Penn State. I think maybe his learning curve for the position was a little bit longer. But ultimately, that kind of athleticism in the portal right now is something to keep an eye on with Lance Dixon. And of course, stay tuned to 24/7 Sports, because after the spring semester's over, after all your spring games, the spring practices are over, guys have a little more clarity on where they're going to be, and then they'll jump in the portal again. So we expect a second wave to come in May.
All right, like the NFL, it's kind of a 12-month sport, college football now, in this crazy world that we're living in. Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports national recruiting analyst, joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. They put together the top 10, and they go deeper than that. I think they go down 25 or so, the transfer rankings for 2021. 4 Tennessee Volunteers among the top 10, and 3 of them going to Oklahoma. But nobody beats Florida. The Gators getting the top 2 transfers this offseason.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.